How does the National Park System try to explain this? You can see this for yourself. Go into nps.gov, and it says the story of how Grand Canyon came to be, blah, blah, blah. The story begins, blah, blah, blah. So this is a story, folks. This is not science like we think of science. We think of things as that are observable and testable, repeatable, falsifiable, the double-blind type of science. And this is none of that. That's all high confidence science. But what we're doing tonight, that's none of it. It is low confidence science. They call it a story. I'll call it a story. I'd like to call it science fiction. And the heroes of the plot are the Colorado River. Notice this. Scientists know that the Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon. Well, how do they know that? Were they there? Did they see it? I'm here to tell you that there's no way that little river cut that canyon 10 miles wide. No way. So that's one of the heroes. The other hero is millions of years. Scientists have estimated an age for the river and thus the canyon through which it flows at 5 to 6 million years. So those are the heroes of the plot. But it actually admits on this national park website, perhaps the biggest question of all, how the Colorado River chose this course and began carving the canyon, still awaits a clear answer. So they don't know how it began. And perhaps the biggest question of all, I would disagree. I think it's, hey, how did this 5 to 10 ton rock get lifted up into sedimentary rock that's supposed to be millions of years old? And then how do these big layers of sedimentary rock bend at a right angle? And it says the Kaibab Plateau, a high point through which the river gingerly slices, poses a problem for geologists. Well, I never saw that when I was at the park. It says, what's the problem? Water certainly doesn't flow uphill. Remember, it flows in at 3,100 feet above sea level. It flows out at 1,200 feet. And yet in between, the canyon rises a mile higher than the river. Rivers don't flow uphill. So that definitely is a problem. I'm glad that they admit it, but it's not very prominent. You got to dig to find it. And it says, while keeping these few accepted chapters in the Colorado River's history book in mind, remember those chapters are the river carved the canyon and millions of years, geologists have proposed a number of different hypotheses. So let's take a look at them. Number one, the Little Colorado River hypothesis. In order for this theory to work, the ancestral Colorado River would have needed to flow eastward over the Continental Divide. Over that. Well, there's no evidence for that, so let's throw that one out. Then you got the Northwest Flowing River hypotheses, and in the red it says, unfortunately, no sedimentary deposits have been found to support this theory. So throw that one out. And then the spillover theory, the catastrophic draining of ancient lakes. Now, that's the one I'm promoting tonight. I agree with them, but they have the lake in the wrong spot. It says the Colorado River was temporarily damp behind the Kaibab Plateau. Well, if that's the case, it would have flowed around the north, which is thousands of feet lower than the middle, which is where the river cuts. So throw this one out. And then you got the collapse of a groundwater karst system. That's where I believe the water's gushing out of the cliffs and eventually it collapses down and makes the canyon. But if that's the case, there wouldn't be potholes on Echo Cliffs. So throw that one out. And so I'm not here to tell you what to think, but I'm showing you where to get information so you can think. And I encourage you to go into creationsciencecenter.org and page 247. And you'll see this for free. It's Walt Brown's 9th edition of In the Beginning. And then you can see all the theories on the top and all the features on the side. And then it's red, yellow, green. Red means, hey, this doesn't work at all. Yellow means maybe it does. And green means, yeah, it sure does. And you look under hydroplate, it's green all the way down. And so we want you to get all the information. You could also go into Real Science Radio, rsr.org, and listen to Grand Canyon Month and see how the river couldn't cut the canyon and how it's not millions of years old. And also you can even listen to Walt Brown explain it. Bulging and cracking 3 times. That's how you explain the Grand Canyon. 2 huge lakes up there. Once they started draining, they bulged at the funnel and it cracked, and then it undercut Hopi Lake, and then it sheet eroded everything, called the Great Denudation. So then the Kaibab Plateau bulged and cracked. That's the second one. And then it eroded all the way down to the hard basement rock of the Grand Canyon. And so then the basement rock bulged and cracked. And that's how you explain Grand Canyon. And it just makes perfect logical sense. And I hope they'll put this on the National Park website, because the theories that they have there don't work. And they might as well put a theory there that does work. But